Welcome back. Our own Julia LaRoche got an exclusive sit-down interview with Google's Sundar Pichai, and she's here now to tell us more about that conversation. Hi, Julia.
Hey, Kristen, that's right. Well, we had a 45-minute discussion with Google and Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai covering a wide range of topics from Google's I/O Developers Conference. And the section that we're going to show you all now, it picks up on our conversation around addressing the digital divide and if more can be done to bring more people into this economy, and also talking about antitrust, the scrutiny of the company as it relates to that. And is, Google too big? Take a listen.
I think a lot more could be done. Today I see a lot of grants from governments around education, but not all of it applies towards, not enough goes into the kind of digital skilling I'm talking about. So, I think community colleges could play a stronger role. Federal grants like Pell Grants could support all of this. So I definitely think there could be, if government thinks through digital skilling seriously, I think there's more to do there. And so I think there's a lot of realization, and I see exciting changes, but there's more to be done.
I want to change topics. When you think about Google, it really is just such a well-known name, not just here in the US, but also globally. But, with size comes challenges. Comes with, scrutiny comes with that as well. And, Google is facing antitrust lawsuits in several states. They allege that Google manipulates its search results to give its own products and services greater rankings over rivals. Billions of searches are done on Google each day. How do you respond to the folks that might be concerned, the onlookers who are concerned about, Google and its size?
I think with size comes scrutiny, and I've always accepted it as an important part. And so no issues with that. If anything, I hope this gives us a chance to explain the way we approach our work. We've always taken the long-term view that we have to stay focused on users, and all the changes we make in search come from that principle. Trying to understand what the user is seeking for and giving answers to that in the best way possible. Yeah. But that's how we approach our work. But with our size, I think the scrutiny is fair, and we've always engaged constructively to the extent if there are some changes which are important, we will make those changes. But I think it's important from our standpoint that there is nothing wrong in innovating by focusing on users and doing that well. And that's what we are doing. Users tell us that to us every day in terms of how they rate the experience with us, and so that's the lens with which we approach everything.
What would potential changes mean for your business if there were any?
For example, in the case of Europe, when they had concerns about shopping, they asked that we design some features to give people more choice in certain areas, and we worked with them to adapt with a set of changes. And so, that's an example of a kind of change I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure what we are doing benefits users, is beneficial to society, and so I view it as a dialogue over time.
You did participate in those virtual tech hearings where you're grilled by lawmakers on the antitrust practices or the alleged ones. What do you think is most misunderstood about Google?
I think in some ways I look at the impact from my personal experience. I see the impact technology had on me. Technology brings opportunities to people. I think we are really committed to our goal of bringing access to information and computing to as many people as possible. And it creates a lot of impact in the economy. In the US alone, the economic activity impact is hundreds of billions of dollars, and we share that. We support small businesses. And so I think it is something which I want to make sure I echo in a moment like this.
Is Google too big, or is there a threshold where you would feel like, whoa, this is actually too big?
Today, there are other companies which are much bigger than us, and both in terms of revenues and market cap and stuff. And I don't think we are trying to do anything for the sake of being big. We want to do well and obviously create value. Shareholder value is part of it. But I think it's up to society to answer those questions. And yeah.
How do you, with a company this size, how do you continue to foster innovation and build great products? How do you keep that going so you don't get kind of stuck in stasis, if you will?
Oh, it's something I think about a lot, and it's a great question. And I think that's where our culture, we give a lot of voice to our employees. There's a lot of innovation which comes from all parts of the company. And it's a company which believes in having ideas and others amplify the ideas. It's an optimistic culture. So it's all the aspects we have invested in over the past 22 years, which I think helps us continue to innovate.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about your personal story, Sundar. You grew up in Chennai, India. What was your childhood like?
I was fortunate to have a childhood in which education was valued. I had a middle class life in India. I never felt short of anything. But, we had to wait for, technology wasn't there when I started in my life, but, we waited 5 years on a wait list to get access to a phone. It was a rotary phone. But when we got it, I saw how much my life changed. In our street, people would come to our house so that they could all call their family and friends. And so it was a vivid moment for me as to how access to technology can make a difference. Mm-hmm. I didn't have much access to a computer growing up. I got it later in life, and it changed again for me. It opened up a world of information and access to me. And so it's something which I've always carried with me. And so when we today work on Chromebooks and make sure students in K through 12 can affordably use it, that's important to me. And same with Android, bringing maybe hundreds of millions of people, giving them access to a smartphone for the first time.
Yeah, your first time interacting with technology, a rotary phone, and you saw the potential and the change in your life. You've said that your father spent a year's salary on your ticket so you could come to the U.S. and attend Stanford. You also mentioned that a backpack costs about the same as your father's monthly salary. When you look back on that sacrifice that your father made, what do you think about?
Oh, it's tough to express in words, and I think they always prioritize my education above everything else, and so it means a lot to me.
How does your own upbringing and your experiences inform your leadership philosophy?
I think empathy for people is very important, particularly at a time like what we went through last year. I think empathy as a value for leadership is extraordinarily undervalued, and it's something I've always brought into everything I do, and influences how I approach work.
So you're living the American dream. What is the status of the American dream today?
I think it's important. The hallmarks of American dreams are opportunity, no matter where you come from, and mobility. I think those are important ideals, and they can always have challenges, but it's something important to keep in mind, and we all need to make sure as society is progressing, everyone is benefiting over time, and that's hard to do, but I think it's something important to do. I do think America has always been an optimistic country, innovating, shows a lot of initiative. That's what also creates opportunity, and with that you need to make sure it's inclusive for everyone, but they all go hand in hand together, I think.
I want to talk about immigration. You all did make some news lately that you're leading an effort. You led an amicus brief in a court case. You're leading an effort to help maintain work authorization for tens of thousands of people whose spouses hold H-1B visas. Talk to us about why this was such an important issue for you all to take the lead on here.
I think immigrants contribute so much to the U.S. economy, and U.S. has had tremendous success, and they also, serve as connectors for the U.S. to the rest of the world. So I've always viewed it as a strength of the country, and on this particular thing, it gives, as people immigrate, it gives a chance for their spouses, which is often, underrepresented groups and women in particular, a chance to work and participate in the economy as well. And so I think it's really important on multiple dimensions. It's something I personally benefited from immigrating to this country, and so I felt strongly about it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned women and bringing more women into the workforce, and I'd like to kind of hear from you, like your thoughts on the progress that's being made. How do you feel about that so far, as it relates to more women in tech, also more people of color in the tech, and how do you kind of think about that and where you want to go?
It's been a big focus for us, and we are making strides. We still have long ways to go. To the earlier point I made about future of work, the flexibility that's built into the future of work, I think, gives us a chance to do all of this better. So, for example, supporting women through the moment when they have children. It's often a pivotal moment in which many women, drop out of the workforce. I think a more flexible workspace can allow you to support that better. Location flexibility. When we talk about underrepresented groups, us being able to recruit from anywhere in the world, including areas where you have more access to underrepresented talent. For example, we are committing to hire 10,000 employees in places like Atlanta, Chicago, DC, New York, where there's a lot more diverse talent. And so being able to do that. So I see all of that as an opportunity, and I think we can lean in and do better.
You can watch our full discussion with Alphabet and Google CEO Sundar Pichai on Yahoo Finance Presents. That's at yahoofinance.com/presents. It's a wide-ranging 45-minute discussion. Kristen?